fuck is going on here? All right, we're just gonna go ahead and close you out, Spotify. Oh my God. Really? Charlie! Switch some things up, Charlie. How you doing today? Let's get slutty. Fucking hilarious. What's up, whisking unicorn? How are you? Good to see ya. Y'all ready to get a little slutty? Y'all ready to get a little slutty? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Okay? It's okay if you want to get a little slutty. Okay? Okay? Brownies of ill repute for the one and only Nicole, the OG, the one and only. Oh, you dropping off the kiddo? Let's fucking go. You're like, yeah, you want to hang out with grandparents? You want to hang out with grandma and grandpa? Fuck yeah, you do. Fuck yeah, you do. Let's make that happen. Yeah, kiddo. You absolutely you can hang out. Let's do that for you. I had to go run some errands today, like just real quick in the morning, and one of those things was to go to the store or go to the bank. 2 banks! Ozzy, you wish. Ozzy, you've never been first in this chat, bro. Never. Whisking Unicorn has that today. Miss Tofa, how you doing? Miss Tofa, good to see you. I also got Jess some flowers. Shh, it's a surprise. I got Jess flowers. Shh, don't tell her, it's a surprise. Ozzy, that's no worries, dude. Jess's favorite flower is sunflowers. Sunflowers. I love that for you. I love that for you. It's such an odd one because it's kind of like bless your heart, you know? Which is like, it can be sincere, but it also can be very condescending. Zaid, here's my feeling about very inexpensive ounces. Like, is it all shake? Is that what you got? It's all shake? I'm not ragging on it in any kind of way. I want to be very, very clear on that. No, it's actually got buds. That's fucking sick. God damn it. This fucking ice machine is like, I need to like destroy it. I almost slipped and ate shit. It's not what I need. It's not what I need in my life right now. It's not what I need from an ice maker. Unless Jess spilled some water and I didn't know. Gorgeous flowers for Jess. Yeah, you know, you got to do it. Let's get caked up. Wicked. Hi. Look awesome with 20%. We can cook with that. Yeah. Zaid, that's exactly what I was going to say. Zaid, cooking with that is like the perfect way to go about it. You can make some amazing, you can use like 3/4 of that to infuse into like butter or canola oil or something. Could definitely take on a chicken. The rest, grind up and get those flavored papers and just have a bunch of joints rolled up. You know? Adept, hello, how are you? Yeah, wicked. I was gonna ask you. I was gonna like message last night because I was just like, how you guys doing? How are you specifically? Because I was like, damn. That sounds like it was a fucking rough one, guys. So I'm glad you're all better. You've recouped. Guys, really quick, do me a favor if you haven't already. I'm making some coffee right now. Go check out the new reel. I made it from yesterday's meal that we had. I had to sit as a statue last night so she would sleep. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Wicked. Really? Good God. That was, well, remember, mushrooms are a poison that you put into your body. Actually, Charlie put in the Discord a little article about psilocybin and how it actually how it affects the body and like, you know, like dosage and everything like that. So go check that out if you haven't already. Also, I'm really mad because I bought a DC plug, a 12-volt DC plug for a light that I have in the corner over here from Best Buy. By the way, fuck Best Buy and anything that like comes out of it. Like I've had just the worst experience with Best Buy and Best Buy products, and I'm almost hesitant about the TVs coming in tomorrow. I might cancel them, like get a refund. Like if this is what I can expect from them, I don't know. Bloom your coffee. Good morning, buds. Hold on, that's not right. Needs to be brought up just a smidge. There we go. That should do it. Yeah, that's better. I had to mess around with it because I put the ring light on this camera now. So you can see how it's like lit up because everything was so dark. Everything was so dark before. So I'm like, yo, we got to get this lit up a bit better. And I set up a light over here, but the DC plug doesn't work. So I just ordered a new one online. Movie selections? Yeah, well, here's the thing about movie selection. Like, Ozzy, I don't see why that would be a reason for you to give up because all music and movies are streaming now. That's why they gave up on it. It's a dead technology. CDs, Blu-rays, they don't matter anymore. They really don't. In a time when you can buy all those things digitally and have them stored online because they're already there, like there's no point. There's no point to physical copies of anything anymore. Like it's just one of those things where it's like if you're trying to sell a CD or a DVD, you're so behind in what it means to be in that industry, you will fail because you've spent money on that shit. I watch a lot of movies that aren't on streaming. I also collector. If you're a collector, though, there's more. You can find those places anyway. You don't need to go to Best Buy. But like in a digital world, those don't matter anymore. Like nobody sells CDs anymore because nobody has anywhere to play them. I used to have a filter on my filter thing every time I make my how do you not get debris in your coffee. There's always going to be a little bit of sediment at the bottom, but nothing major. Can't play them any other way in my car. Yeah. Well, yeah, in your car, right? I don't even have a CD player in my car. My car does not have a tape deck or a CD player. But that's what I mean. Like, nobody has that stuff anymore. You have to pay extra for a PlayStation 5 if you want to have it as the version that takes a disc. Think about that. Think about that. It is a technology that still exists, much like vinyl still exists, but it is not the primary way that people consume that content. You know what I'm saying? It's not an insult to anybody. It's not supposed to make anybody feel bad. It's just a reality that we live in. It's just what it is. It's like 8 tracks. That's what CDs are now. Tapes used to be the new technology, and they surpassed 8 tracks. Then CDs came along, and they surpassed CDs. Then digital music came around, and it's like, yeah, who fucking cares about CDs anymore? But that's why, like, vinyl is so big now, because people are like, nah, this is the way. Like, you know, you've got the specific player for it, you get all that, it's, like, cool to collect, and the sound on vinyl is pretty amazing in general. Games more expensive than physical. I still buy games on disc for that reason. I find buying games digital more expensive than physical. I don't understand that way of thinking at all. Are you saying because you buy them used? Do you buy them used? There should be no price difference between a physical copy and a digital copy. They're all, these days, guys, I don't know if you know this, but they announced this last year. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, all games are now going to be $70. They're all going to be $70. That's how it goes now. That's the new trend you're going to be seeing. Hazed, hi, how are you? Hazed is blazed. That's stupid. Right, new, I always compare prices before buying. Where are you buying them that you get them cheaper? I mean, any new game that comes out is $70. It's just what it is now. I know, 60 is expensive. If you go and buy them pre-used, or pre-owned or anything like that, they're probably going to be they're going to be like $10 extra. If you go and buy, you can go and buy Zelda at Costco right now for $10 cheaper, but there's no games that you can buy unless they go on sale. There's no games that you're buying that are less than $70 now, unless they're like an indie thing, you know? That's just what it is. So any new game that you're like, oh man, it's going to be so cool, it's going to be $70. So it doesn't matter if it's digital. It doesn't matter if it's a physical copy. They're going to be expensive. I know. Honestly, I stopped buying video games a long time ago. Long time ago. You know why? There's some games that I do buy. I will. Let me say that. God of War, I was like, I want that game. And like Jess gave me a gift card and was able to pay for the majority of it. You know, that kind of stuff. But like, there's Game Pass on Xbox, which is pretty amazing. I gotta hand it to Xbox with that regard. They like new games come out, and if you have the Game Pass, I don't know if it's a monthly thing or a yearly thing, but like on PlayStation, they have the PlayStation Plus, and I think that's $60 a month, or just sorry, not $60 a month, $60 a year, something like that. But they give you 2-3 free games a month. That's why I'm like, yo, we're putting the PlayStation 4 upstairs, because I have an extensive fucking collection of video games just on all the free stuff I get, because I don't buy anything unless I'm like, yo, I really want this game. So that's why I don't buy video games. I spend enough money on food and weed. I don't need to spend it on games. Happy 420! Guys, welcome in to an exclusive baked and caked.
Smoke weed every day.
An exclusive baked and caked where we are making brownies of ill repute. Oh, that's right, it's Dakar. I thought it was 8 o'clock. I was like, London! London! But it's not. It's not. I started an hour late. Oh my God. I went to fucking Wells Fargo because I had to get cash to buy some weed, right? First place I went to, the ATMs weren't working. Second place I went to, there was a fucking line. And then I had to go to the store because we needed to get Stroop waffles. That's right. That's right. Stroop waffles. We got some Stroop waffles to put in between the layers of our slutty waffle. If you don't know what Stroop waffles are, they're just a very
Son of a bitch must pay.
thin waffle with caramel in between. What's up, Karmic? Yeah, Stroop waffles. Fucking delightful. How many come in this box? Hold on. The real thing that you're supposed to do with Stroop waffles, besides enjoy them thoroughly, is you put them over the top of your coffee cup or tea. So you just put it on top, and what happens is the heat from the steam and the heat from your coffee or tea makes that caramel nice and melty. So it's just a nice little sweet treat to go with your coffee. We don't slut shame here. That's why they're brownies of ill repute. Jess and I were talking about that yesterday, and she's like, well, ill repute, that's still like negative context. I was like, that's a good point. She's like, what else could you call them? I was like, what? She's like, what about brownies of the night? I'm like, how is that better than ill repute? It's true. We love sluts. We're all sluts for something, right? We're all sluts for something. It's not like, brownies of the night is better. No, it's not. It's not better. I am also a slut for weed. Sexual repute? No. Slut-friendly chat. It's true. All right. Before we get started with that, now that I've had some coffee, look. Slut for desserts, that's fair. We have some weed. So we're going to try these today on stream. Jess and I had to re-up. And these are what we got. This is... this packaging isn't as fun But this is Yoda. This is Yoda. I haven't actually seen this yet, so. This is Tree Farmer, thank you for the lurk. Before we get deep into the sluttiness, that's totally